Hello, and welcome to Introduction to Emergency Preparedness and Natural Disasters for Jail Staff. This course provides jail staff with foundational knowledge and practical strategies for emergency preparedness in the context of natural disasters. The training focuses on developing skills necessary to plan for, respond to, and recover from events such as floods, tornadoes, fires, earthquakes, and pandemics. Emphasis will be placed on continuity of operations, inmate safety, communication protocols, resource coordination, and decision-making under duress. The course also addresses the legal and ethical responsibilities of correctional facilities during emergencies. Importance of preparedness in a correctional environment. Preparedness in a jail environment is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Correctional facilities are complex institutions that house vulnerable populations under secure conditions. When natural disasters such as floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, fires, or pandemics strike, jail staff are faced with the dual challenge of ensuring the safety of inmates while maintaining order and security. Failure to prepare can lead to loss of life, legal liability, reputational damage, and operational collapse. Before we start, I need to cover the terminal learning objectives and enabling learning objectives. Terminal Learning Objective, TLO. Upon successful completion of this course, participants will have an understanding of emergency preparedness planning and response procedures during natural disasters in a jail setting to ensure safety, continuity of operations, and legal compliance. Enabling Learning Objectives, ELOs. Upon completion of this lesson, participants will be able to 1. Define key terms related to emergency management, including mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. 2. Identify natural disasters most likely to affect the local jurisdiction and their potential impact on jail operations. 3. Describe the essential components of a jail-specific emergency operations plan, EOP. Enabling Learning Objectives, ELOs. 4. Explain the roles and responsibilities of jail personnel during various stages of a natural disaster. 5. List effective communication techniques and chain of command protocols in emergency scenarios. 6. Explain case studies of past disasters in correctional facilities to identify lessons learned and best practices. 7. Identify Incident Command System, ICS, principles in a simulated emergency scenario. Enabling Learning Objectives, ELOs. 8. List inmate rights, legal mandates, and ethical considerations during emergency evacuations and lockdowns. Let's get started with the material by reviewing some of the recent natural disasters affecting correctional facilities. In recent decades, natural disasters have tested the emergency preparedness and crisis management capabilities of correctional facilities across the United States. These events serve as case studies that highlight operational vulnerabilities, legal consequences, ethical challenges, and lessons learned. Reviewing these incidents is essential for improving emergency plans and avoiding repeated mistakes. Hurricane Katrina, 2005, Orleans Parish Prison, Louisiana Incident Summary. In August 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans, flooding large portions of the city, including the Orleans Parish Prison, OPP. Approximately 6,500 inmates were left in their cells without power, food, or clean water for days. Floodwaters reached chest high in some housing units. Many staff members evacuated without clear orders, leaving inmates unattended. Consequences. National outcry and lawsuits followed reports that inmates were abandoned. Hundreds of inmates were later unaccounted for, requiring large-scale efforts to identify and relocate them. The facility was later decommissioned and replaced. Federal investigations criticized the lack of planning, communication, and accountability. Lessons learned. Emergency plans must include provisions for evacuation, continuity of supervision, and clear staff duties. Backup power and emergency supply storage are essential. Coordination with external agencies is critical when internal resources are overwhelmed. California wildfires, 2017 to 2020, Incident Summary. Several state and local correctional facilities in California were impacted by annual wildfires, including California Correctional Center, Susanville, North Fork Correctional Facility, impacted by smoke and air quality. Fire encroachment on prison property forced evacuations of thousands of inmates. Staff and inmates were temporarily housed in gymnasiums or transferred to other institutions. Consequences. Facilities experienced logistical strain on transportation, food services, and staff overtime. Smoke inhalation risks triggered lawsuits and emergency medical responses. Lessons learned. Evacuation logistics must be rehearsed and scalable. Air filtration systems and shelter-in-place procedures are necessary for wildfire smoke. Redundancy in housing plans and inmate transfer coordination reduces chaos. Missouri flooding, 2011, southeastern Missouri. Incident summary. Historic floods along the Mississippi River threatened multiple Missouri county jails. Sandbagging, inmate evacuation, and relocation of jail records were necessary. Power outages, road closures, and water contamination disrupted operations. Consequences. Jails that lacked elevation or drainage were overwhelmed. Transportation of inmates to distant counties caused classification and supervision issues. Lessons learned. Site selection and floodplain data must be considered in jail construction. MOUs with nearby jails and emergency services must be current and rehearsed. Vital records and communication systems should be backed up digitally and accessible remotely. Texas winter storm, 2021. Incident summary. Severe winter weather caused blackouts and water system failures in multiple Texas jails and prisons. Heating systems failed in older buildings not built for freezing conditions. Inmates reported freezing temperatures, food shortages, and delayed medical care. Consequences. State facilities faced media scrutiny and lawsuits. Emergency response was delayed due to icy roads and lack of statewide coordination. Lessons learned. Winterization of infrastructure is critical, even in regions with historically mild winters. Emergency food, water, and heat supplies must be independently maintained on site. Response plans should include scenarios for extreme cold and utility loss. Not all emergencies or disasters are results of weather or nature. As we saw with the COVID-19 pandemic, 2020 to 2022, which had a nationwide impact incident summary. COVID-19 swept through correctional institutions due to close quarters and limited medical infrastructure. Facilities struggled with quarantine enforcement, testing shortages, and staffing issues. Some jurisdictions halted jail admissions or released low-risk inmates to mitigate spread. Consequences. Class action lawsuits were filed over conditions and alleged indifference to inmate health. Several states faced staffing crises due to infection or quarantine. The CDC issued specific guidance for correctional settings. Lessons learned. Correctional facilities must be part of public health emergency planning. Pandemic preparedness, stockpiling PPE, cohorting plans, and medical isolation areas is essential. Training on infection control must be routine for all staff. These recent disasters demonstrate that jails must not assume that it won't happen here. Natural disasters do not exempt secure environments, and failure to plan invites operational, legal, and ethical crises. Effective emergency preparedness requires proactive leadership, interagency collaboration, and continuous improvement based on real-world lessons.